Good morning. Uh, I don't take much of your time. We'll be finishing up the session very soon. Sunday, you people are very busy. I understand. You've taken your time. Attending the session is appreciated. Now, the question is, what is the purpose of the program? Answer writing, right? Within 10 to 20 minutes, I'm giving you some corrected answers of a student who appeared UPSC mains 4 times with anthropology as optional. And once you get those papers, you get to know where most of the students fail and get the content wrong. Okay? Apart from this, as I said, what do you get in the context of a test series program? How I'm going to evaluate you? Do you get any material, or do you get any value added handouts, soft copies, etc.? And what are the sources from which I pick my value additions? Each faculty has their own USP, and likewise, even I have the same USP. I do have few things in my mind, and I'll show you some sources also, where I pick up some case studies from the works of scholars in their ethnographies. Having said this, before we begin the session, it will help you, the following schedule you get in the form of a booklet, it will help you to cultivate the habit of answer writing. Okay? And what are the prerequisite conditions for this? What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to finish off the syllabus in time, and as I said, you got a weekly test chapter wise, and deliberately the syllabus was kept at bare minimum, just 2-3 chapters here and there, not lengthy syllabus which you cannot manage. And then what are the prerequisites? For answer writing. Generally, there is slight difference in GS and optional. In optional, as I said, you need to change your orientation a bit. As far as GS is concerned, it is mostly very standard format of answer writing. But as far as optional is concerned, examiner will look for following things. The moment examiner reads your answers, that to introduction itself, you get to know what would be the content in the following pages. This is good enough to evaluate and assess your preparation. By looking at introduction, examiner will find out that is this an answer written based on thorough preparation, or you just beating around the bush. It doesn't take much time for the examiner to realize the content. When I can do that, examiner will do it definitely. Okay. Now, the object of this session is, I'll teach you some basics of answer writing, and then we'll take 1 or 2 examples, and then I'll try to explain how you need to condition your mind before you go for optional mains exam. And before we start this, how many of you have seen previous year paper? Mains papers, optional. At least the recent one, 2023. Did you find anything surprising? Those who are done with coaching, any surprising elements? No. In paper 1, there are 3. First observation is, when I used to attempt the examination, when I was a student like you, we used to expect in section A, all the questions will be from socio-cultural anthropology and archaeology. In section B, most of the questions will be from physical anthropology. Now, the distinction is no more followed by UPSC. Gone are those days. That means, in section B, he is asking more of socio-cultural, in section A, physical. That means, that mental watertight compartmentalization is gone. You need to prepare to answer any question in either sections.
So, as I was discussing,
You check the question paper, as I said, section A, socio-cultural, section B, physical, the distinction is gone. Prepare mentally to face any kind of question, either in 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever the question numbers are. And if you observe the question paper from 2019, deliberately examiner is teasing the candidates. How? You get to see 2 sections in each paper, and examiner deliberately want you to select some other questions by ignoring few. In section A, as I said, you'll get 10 markers, A, B, C, D, E. Compulsory question. Each question carries 10 marks. Minimum, one question will be a bouncer. The trend is since 2019, this is the 4th year, examiner is at least teasing you with one of a new topic. And this time in 5C, I guess it is glottochronology, right? No student has attempted this. If they say they attempted, they are just lying and bluffing. Where do you study this glottochronology? In the context of linguistic anthropology, that is your chapter 7, you study glottochronology. And what it is? It is about historical evolution of language. For example, as things changes by time progresses, some words they lost relevance and they're no more used in daily conversations. In Telugu, there is an alphabet which lost its relevance. What is that? Bandira. I think it is still existing. Some letters, some words, when they lose relevance, significance, and no more used, they become history. And new words are added, right? Why new words are added? Again, this is because of integration or diffusion of cultural traits. When you go to a different culture, you observe the language in that culture and you pick up some words. For example, in Oxford Dictionary, you never see a word called chappal. Chappal is a Hindi word. Now you find this in Oxford Dictionary. What is happening? New words are added into some language, old words are losing their relevance. So this is about glottochronology. In linguistic anthropology, chapter 7, where you study language, emergence, theories, etc., we give a passing reference. So, how to attempt these questions? Don't attempt these questions. Why? Unlike GS, where you can write something relevant, you can manage the answer, get 1 or 2 marks. That is not going to happen here. You need to write where you had conceptual clarity. Without this, as I said, you can't impress the examiner, and whenever you write irrelevant content, not only you lose marks here, after this answer, the following impression of the examiner on your answers is lost. You ruined your chances of getting good score. Without knowing any answer, you just leave the question without attempting it. No problem. Maybe 10 marks out of 250 you left. Again, you got 240. Still, 160 is possible out of 240. So you observe last 4-5 years papers, 1 or 2 questions are completely unknown. And the question is, can we teach all those miscellaneous topics in the class? Impossible. Literally impossible. In one of the years, examiner has asked about total institutions. This topic is from sociology. And of late, he is asking about some scholars from sociology. For example, when we study Indian anthropologists, Leela Dubey is not an Indian anthropologist, though she is an Indian. But Leela Dubey's Seed and Earth might be asked next year. Therefore, in the test series, apart from focusing on regular topics, I would be giving these surprising questions. And for these surprising questions, I will give you handouts. Okay? That will be taken care of. And again, Have you got a soft copy of 2023 mains paper? Open the paper. మీ గ్రూప్లో పంపించాను కదా. వెరీ గుడ్. వై ఆర్ యు సో సీరియస్ టుడే? You don't have paper, okay. At least you've seen paper, right? Question paper. No. Anthropology is optional. Okay, good. Now, those who have completed classes, I can see few of my students. Maurya, given an opportunity, what questions you pick up from section A and section B? Check the questions in section A, section B. I've sent you question paper, right, in both the class groups, in RC Reddy and Amigos. Paper 1, section A. What are the surprising elements? Nothing. Come to section B. 5C, right? Glottochronology. Then what about 7th question? Did you see Arjun Annadurai? Right? Did you see computer softwares? Right? In data analysis? These 3 questions are surprising elements in 2023 question paper. So, deliberately, examiner is giving a strong message to you. What is the message? The message is, do not try new things. Therefore, how many questions should I pick from section B in this year? Between 6, 7, 8, I should pick only 1 question. And 2 questions from section A. Either 2, 3, 4, between 2, 3, 4, I should pick 2 questions. That means examiner indirectly is asking you to select some questions and leave some questions. Now, coming to paper 2, it is very comfortable. And if you observe how to score more than 160 plus in paper 1, as I said, physical anthropology, and if you see Mesolithic culture was given several times. It is getting repeated very often. That means also when we discussed last year, I think for your batch, I asked you to mark Thong baby as an important topic to be asked, and it has come in this year. That means in archaeological anthropology, you got very few handful of topics, and within that you are getting 50 marks. So extremely predictable. And we discussed about why VG Child considered Neolithic as a revolution, right? Again, taking that as a lead, in this year there was another question. So whenever you try to focus on answer writing, particularly for optional, you need to focus on scoring areas. 1, physical anthropology, then archaeology, particularly in paper 1. Okay. Now, what about very conventional questions with slight change are asked in UPSC? Check section A. There is a question on marriage regulations. Somebody read the question. Wait. Marriage regulations in traditional societies in India. That's it. With examples. For strengthening social solidarity. What is social solidarity? Social solidarity is about what? When you ensure social control, there will be social solidarity. When there is social solidarity, it leads to social continuity. This is what we discussed all through the topic called social control. Now, what was the change from the conventional topic asked in exam? What are marriage regulations? In syllabus, examiner has given you clearly marriage regulations. And I have drawn a flowchart in my class also.
types of marriage or forms of marriage. In that, first one is marriage based on number of spouse, marriage based on rules, marriage based on rarity. In this question, he is asking you to write about marriage based on rules. What rules you got? Prescriptive, preferential, proscriptive. In prescriptive, what are the subtypes? Endogamy, exogamy. In preferential, cousin marriage, parallel cross, and then you get to see what? Levirate, sororate, hypergamy, hypogamy, right? That means in each of, draw the flowchart, not the entire flowchart, just marriage regulations flowchart. There are 3 rules, and draw the flowchart. And let us consider endogamy and exogamy. The last part of the question is the crux. How these marriage regulations, they ensure social solidarity. For example, if I am writing about exogamy, how exogamy ensures social solidarity, and examiner has asked you to write about example from India's context. I think I have discussed a case study in the class about a village in UP where they which village? Rani Kera village in UP. They had exogamous marriage relation with more than 200 neighboring villages. What do you mean by exogamy? Marrying women from outside the group. I have given a woman from my family to a family in some other village. Because of that, what happens? There is affinal relationship developed, right? Because of this, what happens? Whenever my society is going through tough times, say for example, continuous drought conditions in Rani Kera village, food grains will be supplied by all the other neighboring villages where they got surplus. And because of this, what is the outcome? Social solidarity, right? In this case, caste endogamy, class endogamy, right? How come caste endogamy leads to solidarity? You are marrying within your caste. That means, aren't you strengthening your caste group within the society? Right? That means you need to explain social solidarity at various levels. When I explain proscriptive rule, what comes under proscriptive rule? Incest taboo. And what is the outcome of incest taboo? Where do you study incest taboo? Recollect the theories of incest taboo. Tyler, Leslie White, Levi Strauss, what did they say? Sigmund Freud. Cooperation theory was not given by Sigmund Freud. Cooperation theory was given by who? Tyler, Leslie White, Levi Strauss. What is cooperation theory? Initially, society was in chaos. People want to live in peace and harmony. They decided to exchange goods, which is not a possible entity. They decided to exchange ideas, again impossible. Then they decided to exchange women. That means from this group to this group, women were exchanged. To exchange women with neighboring group, I need to make a rule that nobody should marry within my group. What is that called? Incest taboo. Because of incest taboo, which is a proscriptive rule between two social groups living or coexisting together side by side, there existed social cooperation. It led to what? Solidarity. So, content is same, concept is same, approach differs. I hope you are able to understand the difference. And most of the students, they do not understand how to connect the core concept with social solidarity. That is where you lose marks. That is where you lose marks. And if you start writing everything about the marriage regulations and end the answer, you'll get only 50% of the marks, half of the marks. If it is a 20 marker, you get some 5 or 6. Why? You did not understand the question properly. What is the question? What is the core demand of the question? Marriage regulations ensures social solidarity. Give examples in the context of India. But you understand only marriage regulations and you write all the marriage regulations rules examples and you come out and you say, I've written exam very well. But when you get marks, you understand reality. Okay, that means we need to address all these flaws in the next 3 months. The test series will be finished by Jan 31st. By this, you must become experts in concepts as well as answer writing. And I thought of discussing 2023 paper, then I decided not to, because whatever questions, for example, this question I'll give in the context of marriage. You got that exam on 11th. So I'm leaking the paper, you'll get this question. Let us see how you write. So what all questions asked in 2023, that would be the focus. Apart from this, as I said, we'll go a bit deeper than the regular concepts, regular questions, particularly when it comes to paper 2. As I said, these are my trump cards. From these sources, I pick up a lot of value addition, and you don't find them very often. That is a work done by Veena Das. Extensive scholarly works were given in these 2 volumes. Put together, it is around 1600 pages. Yep. From this, I pick up my value additions, case studies, etc. I still remember a couple of students asked me, where do you lift this content? Those are the sources. I mean, those are not available exclusive to people like me. You too can buy, but around 18 to 20,000 you need to spend some time, some money. If you're interested in spending 20,000, you can buy those, but waste of time, because you're not teaching anthropology, preparing for anthropology, right? And apart from this, I do pick up some content from General Storage, American Anthropological Association, and particularly from EPW and Down to Earth. EPW old editions. Within some time, I'll give you some handouts. Most of us have read Sanskritization in paper 2, right? Those who are done with their concepts. What is Sanskritization? Imitation of higher culture. What is the purpose or object of Sanskritization? To elevate your caste status, you try to emulate the practices of upper caste, so that you brand yourself as a upper caste. For that article, in my regular class, I'll give you some dimensions. Those dimensions were picked from 1961, I think August edition of EPW. 1961, and this is 2023. I still remember A.P. Barnabas has written few times and couple of interesting articles in EPW in 1961 and in 1965. I pick up content from those articles, and you get deeper insights from those scholarly articles. You try getting access to 1961 edition of EPW. It is not that easily available. It is available, again you need to spend some 2 to 3,000. So these are the sources where I pick my value addition, and value addition will ensure 1 additional mark. Imagine in each paper, for 10 questions you have made some value additions because of this test series program. You get around 20 additional marks. And you understand the impact of 1 single mark in UPSC. 20 means from no interview to interview, from no service to any service, from any service to IAS, from IAS to state cadre. That is how the difference makes. Okay. So now let us begin the basics. There are 3 fundamental rules in writing a very good answer in optional. First one is, you need to have conceptual clarity. That means whenever I give something, say for example, pedigree analysis, you need to have a conceptual clarity. Chromosomal aberrations, or you need to, for example, if I ask you to write about differences between diffusionism and classical evolutionism, or differences between Malinowski and Radcliffe Brown in the context of functionalism, or differences between symbolic anthropology, cognitive anthropology, or what is socio-cultural anthropology, what is biological anthropology, any concept, all the syllabus lines mentioned by UPSC, you need to have conceptual clarity, without which you can never attempt any answer in the exam. This is very, very essential. Now, the question is how to get conceptual clarity. Wherever you study, in whichever institute, they give you some material, right? Or they give you some handouts, notes, dictation, whatever it is. That will be your primary source. Don't deviate from that. Say you have taken coaching from other institute, writing test series in this place. Don't shift your source. Just confine to the place, to the source which you are given in your classroom terrain. Okay? Then revise it 3 to 4 times. Then you'll get conceptual clarity, and then once you are done with this, try to relate the concept with other concepts given by the examiner in the syllabus. I'll give an example now. Okay? I got a conceptual clarity, then try to relate the concept with other syllabus lines. How we should do this? I'll give an example. We study religious forms in primitive societies, right? What are they? According to T.B. Taylor, first one is animism, second animatism, third totemism, right? Then polytheism, monotheism. This you study in religion, right? In the context of conservation of environment, where do you study this? Conservation of environment in anthropology. In which paper? What is NMS? Nature Man Spirit Complex. Who gave this? LP Vidyarthi. When? When he studied Malayer tribe in Malayer tribe in Chota Nagpur Plateau. Okay. Srikant. Chota Nagpur Plateau, right? Rajmahal Hills. In this case, they speak about sacred geography. Sacred geography is nothing but sacred grooves of tribals. When you consider something as sacred, will you let it exploited by outsiders, or will you try to conserve it? Try to conserve it. Now, link this to totemism. Totemism can be flora and fauna. It could be plant, it could be tree, it could be an animal. Let us assume that in an entire tribe, I said each clan will have its own totem. At the level of tribe, again you have another totem. That means once you consider something as totem animal or totem plant, what do? Would you try to exploit it, or you try to conserve it? That means, don't you think that totemism is conserving environment? But nowhere you study these two together. But this is how you need to link topics. And what about current example in this context? Great Indian Bustard, very good. Its population is dwindling. The government said it is one of the totem animal or bird. Then what happened? Rather than killing it, the tribe started preserving it, conserving it. Because of that, its population increased. Something similar happened in Gir National Park. What is that? Sai. ఒక ట్రైబ్ పేరు చెప్పా క్లాస్లో. Malhari tribe in Gir National Park. When they were excluded from forest conservation, the population of tigers reduced drastically in Gir National Park. And government felt that tribals are the best source to conserve nature and forest so that you can protect flora and fauna. Again, the conservation activities, the responsibility was entrusted on the Malhari tribe. Now today the population is increasing. What do you mean by that? The moment you talk about conservation of environment, you need to recollect all these case studies and examples, and this interconnection of different topics, syllabus lines, that will give you edge in the examination. So again, let us go back to first one is conceptual clarity. What is the second important prerequisite condition? Application of the concept. Application of concept. What is application of concept? Examiner will ask you to identify impact of feminism on the stability of marriage as an institution, impact of industrialization on family, on marriage, on kinship, right, on religion. Therefore, whatever you study in the context of family, marriage, and whatever you study in the context of feminism, industrialization, and modernization, etc., urbanization, you need to connect the two topics. And most of the students are successful up to this level. But what about that value addition? You need to give about case studies, some statistics. And how do you pick up statistics? Again, from Ministry of Tribal Affairs as far as paper 2 is concerned, and as far as other topics are concerned, particularly in the context of divorce, etc., you could refer to National Crime Records Bureau. You can use the data in the context of feminism, domestic violence, etc. And very soon, don't get surprised if marital rape is asked in anthropology. In 2010, an anthropologist has made extensive study on marital rape. It will be a question. So in the test series, we'll try to cover all these miscellaneous along with regular topics. So this is about application of the concept. Now, the third important thing in this case is presentation. This is very, very important. Very, very important. You might have read extensively. You might have huge knowledge of anthropology here, but it is not visible to the examiner. No matter how much knowledgeable you are here, you need to find a way out of presentation. And what is presentation? Presentation means writing in a concised manner. What do you mean by writing in concised manner? And writing in coherent manner. These two are very, very important. And together we call this as a structured answer. Unfortunately, whenever I correct some papers, both GS, essay, and optional, I find most of the answers are not structured. That is why deliberately in the class I insist on what? Focusing on framework. What is structure of an answer? For every topic I am giving you framework, right? What is this framework called? That is a structure. Let us consider an example. I am asking you to write about a replication of DNA. No matter how lengthy content you write, you need to draw the diagram. Importance should be given to diagram, the process of DNA replication, and for each stage mention 1 or 2 lines. But most of the students, they give more priority to writing lengthy paragraphs and they end up without drawing the diagram. So since I am referring about presentation, right? What is presentation? You need to address the demand of the question, right? As I said, you might be having amma meeku raleda handout. Okay. No. Shashi, venakku panpichoti. Ammaiki sanaki ivadi. 3 of you just look at it. నువ్వు కూడా ఒకటి వెనక్కి పంపించమ్మా. ఇద్దరిద్దరు ఒక్కొక్కటి చూడండి. Okay, in this case, I have written my comments. Check the first part of the question. The question is about evolutionism, right? Somebody read the question. Chadvama. Basic tenets of classical evolutionism school, right? Hmm? What do you mean by basic tenets? Tenets ante hindi. Premises or ideas. Then L.H. Morgan, right? The question has how many parts? Two parts. The first part is writing the basic tenets of classical evolutionism. The second part is L.H. Morgan contribution to classical evolutionism. Two parts, 20 marks. Now, what was the structure I have given you in the classroom? Recollect the structure of classical evolutionism. What is the first point to be written? Definition of evolution and evolutionism in 2 lines. What is evolution? Gradual process of change from simple to complex, from homogeneity to heterogeneity, and now read her definition. Is it appropriate? Now, let me check the answer. So, whenever you write inappropriate definitions, in your paper itself, I'll write the perfect definition. Then, as you go down, up to here, the answer is good. She has drawn a flowchart, different schools of classical evolutionism, very good, appreciated. Then she started about basic tenets, fine. She missed very important aspect of basic ideas or tenets of classical evolution. What is that? Evolution occurring at all the levels of culture. What are the 3 levels of culture? Cultural traits, cultural complex, cultural pattern. Who gave this topic, concept? Ruth Benedict. We have drawn a flowchart in the class, right? That is missing. Then, now come to works of scholars. Okay, did you see works of scholars? Kanpichinda? Did you see that? What is the question? Recollect the question. L.H. Morgan. Then, are we supposed to write about T.B. Taylor? That means the box I have drawn, that content is unnecessary. Because of that, you are wasting time and space. Now check the content for L.H. Morgan. Before you check that, recollect the class discussion. What is the contribution of L.H. Morgan to classical evolutionism? In the context of kinship terminology, in the context of marriage and family, in the context of evolution of whole society, and in the context of political system, right? We studied these 4. And what was the diagram I have drawn for evolution of whole society according to L.H. Morgan? We divided savagery into lower savagery, middle savagery, upper savagery. I have given examples, right? And also the nature of the society. For example, lower savagery. What was the phrase written? Example is unknown society. What is the characteristic feature of that society? Hunting is a middle savagery or upper savagery. Fruits and nuts. And I said they used to consume raw food, uncooked food. And in middle savagery, fish and fire. In upper savagery, that means hunting began in upper savagery. Right? Now, check her flowchart. And directly, you should never introduce a scholar to the examiner without writing at least 1 sentence of the brief history of the of the scholar. She just mentioned L.H. Morgan, right? Check the answer. And straight away she started writing about American anthropologist and ethnologist. Don't you think that the content is in bits and pieces format? Do you find coherence? answer must be written in a coherent manner. Coherence means there must be continuity. It should be like a freely flowing water. It shouldn't be like bits and pieces. What do you mean by American anthropologist, ethnologist? You need to write proper sentence. And then I have written one sentence as an introduction to Ellis Morgan. Check the sentence. Lawyer by profession, developed interest in anthropology while pleading with a very quiet tribe. This is the difference between well-read answer and an answer which is written just to manage the content. Imagine your friend has written in this format and I have written the way I have given the comments. Which answer will get more marks? Obviously my answer. Why? It is coherent, it is concise, well structured. So structure of the answer plays an important role in your mains. Then, so coming back to the civilization and look at barbarism, savagery. She just mentioned lower, middle, upper without mentioning the characteristic feature and example. That is where you lose minimum 1 mark. And then when coming to kinship terminology, she just mentioned classificatory and descriptive. Now, don't you think that she's supposed to write about the flowchart which we discussed in the class? What is the flowchart about kinship terminology? Classificatory and descriptive. Classificatory is further divided into Malayan type and North American Indian type. What are the examples? Or what is the one sentence we write? Same kinship terminology is used to address kins of same gender and same generation. The flowchart is missing. Imagine she did not write about E.B. Tyler. She would have got time and space to draw the flowchart. That is why structured answers are very, very critical for marks in exam. Had she not mentioned about E.B. Tyler, she would have got time and space to draw the flowchart. By the time she started writing about kinship terminology, she realized that she is running out of time. That is why she knows the flowchart, but she was not able to draw the flowchart. Now, why such mistakes crop up? You know, but you don't execute. Why? Because you don't write test series. You need to address all these flaws in test series, not in UPSC. Okay, next. She did not mention about the evolution of political system. Okay, then in the entire criticism, fundamental criticism she missed in the exam. What is that? Conjecturalism. Classical evolutionists was criticized for speculation, imagination, or conjecturalism. She didn't write that. That means key sentences must be written in the exam. Now, come to second question, diffusionism. She mentioned about diffusionism without defining what is diffusion, right? And then check the concept. She divided page into two: culture circle, culture area. What is a diagram for culture circle theory or German school of diffusionism? They've given an analogy. What is analogy? It is just like a stone thrown into pond. It sends some ripples, right? That means the simple diagram would be why two circles. Within this, there will be more cultural similarities. As the cultural traits travel long distance, they get modified or diluted. Here you find less similarities with respect to this culture center. Here you find more similarities. Why? This is in close proximity. She has drawn the diagram, but is the diagram meaningful? Check the diagram. Is the diagram meaningful? The purpose of drawing diagram is it must be meaningful. Remember, she attempted mains thrice. And this time She gave her fourth mains attempt with anthropology. Never crossed more than 200. It doesn't mean she is not knowledgeable. She is very hardworking and she is very intelligent. She got lot of knowledge here. In spite of very hardworking, very intelligent, why she is writing such answers? Writing practice. And evaluation plays an important role. I don't want to take the name of the institute. She came to me with evaluated copies from other institute. The evaluation is good. Finally, the comment is need to improve. That's it. And 4 out of 10. What is the purpose of this evaluation? What do you get? Nothing. You don't get to know anything. And those who are close to me, you know how I evaluate papers. I could see some smiley faces. చెప్పాలా? She used to complain, ఇవి కూడా చూస్తారా? I used to identify even basic spelling mistakes. I spend lot of time in correcting answer scripts. To me, the crux of attending test series is not to get some booklets from me. A student came to me the other day, sir, I want to join your test series, fine. What do I get? I did not understand the question. Again, she insisted on, even a material istara, welcome kit istara. This is not a beauty parlor to give you welcome kit. And by looking at my face, do you think I can offer some beauty tips? Definitely not. Right? And she gave an example. In other institute, when we join test series, we get 2 books, bulky books, paper 1 material, paper 2 material. And then again some handouts related to regular content. My question is, already you are done with coaching. You might have got your primary source. You might have read it couple of times. Again, why do you want to shift to different source for preparation? Is that advisable? Is it a wise thing to do? What is the thumb rule for UPSC? One source, multiple revisions. Don't feel happy wherever you go. If you are getting some books, don't feel happy. Just throw them aside. Stick to one source. Again, I am not insisting if you join test series, you must read my notes. No. Don't shift the source. You have taken coaching in Vajiram. Confine to Vajiram material. And Karthik sir's notes. Confine to that. Revise it 3-4 times. Attempt the examination. If at all there is any lacuna in the content, I'll be giving in the form of this. And this is why, as I said, my evaluation takes lot of time. And mostly I'll do it in front of you. That is more troubling. Not to embarrass you, but to make you understand your mistakes. ఇనీషియల్గా కొంచెం భయపడ్డారు, ఇప్పుడు భయం పోయింది అనుకుంటా. పోయిందంట. వెరీ గుడ్. నౌ చెక్ ద diagram. See, if you remember in culture area concept, what is the definition of culture area? It is a geographical area where distinct cultural groups coexist side by side and diffusion of traits takes place. Within that you find culture core, which is called as high culture, right? ఇట్లా డాట్స్ పెడితే విచ్ ఈజ్ హై కల్చర్, హౌ ట్రైట్స్ ఆర్ డిఫ్యూజింగ్ ఎట్లా తెలుస్తుంది ఎగ్జామినర్కి? లుక్ ఎట్ దిస్ డయాగ్రామ్, దిస్ వన్. విదిన్ దిస్ యూ చెక్ ద క్లాస్ రూమ్ డయాగ్రామ్. ఈజ్ ఇట్ relevant? You should understand, do not draw diagrams just for the sake of drawing. Diagrams must be legible and meaningful. If this is how you're drawing the diagram, examiner don't understand anything. With a diagram, I'm explaining a concept to the examiner. What is a diagram? It should be like there is a culture center, neighboring distinct cultures, What happens? This should be the diagram for a culture area. What is this? You're trying to explain a concept to the examiner. Focus on the diagram. Diagram should be legible. It should be meaningful. Okay? And then, in the context of culture circle, what did I say the other day when I explained the class? Two important things are essential: criteria of form and criteria of quantity. Did you find those two in the culture circle? No. Then, in the above page, she defined the concept. Check the concept in this page. Beneath the scholars, check the content. Under culture circle, the content written is: culture evolves independently at multiple centers. Fine. Come to American School of Diffusion. Multiple sources of origin. What do you mean by multiple sources of origin? Origin of what? Is that the theme of American School of Diffusionism? Who are the scholars associated? Clark Whistler, right? Franz Boas, A.L. Kroeber. What is the context of American School of Diffusionism? Culture area concept, age area concept, death and birth of civilization. Right? Did you find those things? No. Now, come to page 9. She started mentioning about a culture area. Is it appropriate place to mention culture area? It should be mentioned in the table itself. When she divided the page into two, in that context, you're supposed to write about culture area. What do you call this? Incoherent answer, shuffling back and forth. Mundiki venakku rayakooడదు ఏది పడితే అది. Next. Come to page number 10 and check the criticism part. Sorry, conclusion. Read her conclusion. What was the conclusion written by the student? To conclude, both culture area and culture center theories furthered anthropological research and added new dimension to. What kind of conclusion it is? Did you understand anything? Huh? What should be the conclusion? Now check the conclusion written by me under the comment section. Which is more appropriate? Why? Because as I say, it all makes the difference only when you write tests. Again, అంతవరకు ఇచ్చాను డెలిబరేట్గా. ఐ గోట్ అదర్ పేజెస్. న్యూ ఎవల్యూషనిజం కూడా ఉండిందా? Again, see. So, lot of changes need to be made. ఎందుకంటే వద్దులేండి బాగోదు. No, I just want to, my intention is not to, disrespect any student. My intention is, she is very intelligent, very hardworking girl. Without hard work and intelligence, you just don't qualify prelims continuously 4 times. It's not an easy thing. But yet, she was not able to grab the opportunity. Why? She lacked that writing skill. Now, this is the reason why test series is essential in getting good score. So, as I said, conceptual clarity, application of the concept and presentation. This is how presentation is very important, and in this context of writing test, we'll focus more on presentation. By now, you must have conceptual clarity. The moment you start writing, I'll be giving you some various inputs depending on your answers. And at times, if in a particular test, most of the students didn't perform well. Say, for example, uh, cognitive anthropology, symbolic anthropology, postmodernism, mostly students are finding it difficult. We'll make videos on it. Chesta. Cheppanu chesta. So wherever you find some difficulties, I'll be making some videos, short videos, to give you some conceptual clarity. And particularly, as I said, in paper 2, I'll be lifting content from several sources. Just now I've shown you the two bulky books, and from those sources you get more than 1,000 case studies. I'm not joking. If you want, once the class is over, you can take a glance of those books. So in paper 2, the focus will be on value addition and some flowcharts and some statistics. Now the challenge is how to use the skills of diagrams, flowcharts. For example, I am referring to caste system or evolution of caste system. Inevitably, I have to mention judge money system. No matter how skillfully I can write content for judge money system, without drawing the diagram, the answer is incomplete. And it is easy for examiner to understand judge money system through diagram rather than through lengthy paragraphs. What is a diagram? Here you got Thakur. Here you got Kisan, Kumhar, Kahar, water carrier. Kumar means potter. You got Chamar, Baduai, Vaid, Dobi, etc. That means this is how people are serving each other. That means each occupation is a group in primitive, in ancient society in India, and connect every social group. Once you draw this diagram, classic way of explaining judge money system to examiner. No matter you write 1 or 2 pages of content, you can never explain this way to the examiner. So skillfully you need to add and you need to include statistics, flowcharts, diagrams, etc. And I do this in the class and I do this in test series also. Okay. So this is about presentation. Then finally, before we end up the session and I take some questions from you, what are the sources? Again, I strongly believe class notes should be the source. Whatever institute you have taken coaching, confined to that class notes. Additional sources for socio-culture, Ember and Ember. For theories, Makhanja. And for physical anthropology, if you can afford to buy Stan and Roy, you can buy. One of my student, she purchased Stan and Roy. Cheppanu kada. She is very rich. Then, or the disgusting book. What is the book? Peanut. Oh God. And I heard that biological anthropology written by Craig Stanford is available. Biological anthropology written by Craig Stanford. It is available. You can purchase this book. This is better than Peanut. Okay. Then for archaeology, you can refer to D.K. Bhattacharya, or there is another book written by Nadeem Asnain, General Anthropology. These are the sources. And then for paper 2, 2 books, Indian Anthropology by Nadeem Asnain, Tribal India by Nadeem Asnain. But in this case, I would be more relying on EPW, Down to Earth, select editions of Yojana. Okay. And as I said, journal storage, American Anthropological Association, and finally my favorite 2 bulky books written by Veena Das. So from these sources, I'll pick up value addition, add here. For example, we study about M.N. Srinivas as far as caste system in anthropology is concerned. And when it comes to G.S. Gure, we try to study him in the context of approach to study Indian society and in the context of assimilation integration debate, right? Between Gure and Verrier Elwin. Same kind of debate happened between Nehru and Verrier Elwin. That means, in this case, some topics, for example, Louis Dumont view on caste system in India. This man has done extensive field work in India. This is not available in most of the standard anthropology textbooks. That is available in this book. So from this, I'll pick up some source. For such topics, I'll be giving you some handouts. Okay. So this is about the basics of answer writing. And whenever you get to see any question, again, the question is, classical evolutionism failed not because of ideas, but because of approaches. Critically examine the question. నిన్న ఒక స్టూడెంట్ పేపర్ కరెక్ట్ చేశారు. Good boy has written content in this format. Definition of evolution, very good. Then basic premises and basic approaches. That's it. Is this the question? Question is, you need to explain why ideas are good and why approaches are. That is a crux. So whenever you read the question, I give this tip even for GS mains also, even essay also. Read the question 2 to 3 times. 2 to 3 times read the question. Try to understand keywords. When you see keywords in the question, okay, then try to frame the answer in your mind. How? Whenever you're trying to frame the answer in your mind, you must recollect the framework I give in the class for the topic. The moment you recollect the framework I give in the classroom, your answer will be coherent. What do you mean by coherent answer? Just you have seen. Culture area was defined at the end of the answer. It should be defined in the beginning of the answer. That is where you lose the focus. That is where your answer becomes haphazard. Okay? So, read the question 2-3 times, understand keywords, and frame the answer here. And then write the answer. Finally, 3 important parts of answer. What are they? Intro, body, conclusion. Most of the times in my classroom, I used to give you some time, couple of minutes to write introduction or conclusion. But most of you, రాస్తున్నారా రాయరు. ఎందుకని? నేను చెప్తాను కాబట్టి తర్వాత. I'll give an example. There are 3 students in the class. పాత బ్యాచ్ ఆర్సి రెడ్డి. They write excellent introductions and conclusions. One, Sai ఉన్నాడు అక్కడ. Sai, raise your hand. Chennai IIT, right? Bombay IIT. Huh? Guwahati IIT. Initially, his answers were very average. By the time we are done with test series, his answers improved manyfold. Not only that, ఏమి హ్యాండ్ అవుట్ అది రాజకిరణ్ ఏంది అది సాంస్క్రిటైజేషనేనా ఇది ఎందుకు ఆ సాంస్క్రిటైజేషన్ ఏది దీంతో పాటు ఇంకోటి పంపించాను కదా ఇది కాదు ఇది ఇవ్వద్దు ఇవి కలెక్ట్ చేసేసుకో That constitutional thing, that is not our cup of tea. నరసింహ, మంజు సార్ ఒకసారి కనుక్కో, సాంస్క్రిటైజేషన్ ఒక పీడిఎఫ్ పంపించాను నేను. అది కదా చెప్పింది. లేదు 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 లేదు, కనుక్కొని తీసుకుంటా తొందరగా. ఓకే. సో దోస్ హు డి నాట్ గెట్ ద ఆన్సర్ స్క్రిప్ట్, ఆన్సర్ షీట్ ఎవరికైతే రాలేదో తీసుకోండి ఒకసారి, జస్ట్ కలెక్ట్ ఇట్. ఓకే, నా అది తొందరగా తీసుకుంటారా. చలో, ఇన్ దిస్ కంటెక్స్ట్, సాయి, initially his answers were very average. By the time we ended test series, one of the best answers I've seen in that batch. What is the reason? Consistency. పక్కన అబ్బాయి ఉన్నాడు, ఒక ఎగ్జామ్ రాయలా, ఇంక మిగతాయి ఆన్సర్ రైటింగ్ అక్కడే ఉంది. అగైన్ యూ గాట్ మౌర్య హియర్, స్రవంతి. There is no difference between you and these three people in the class. They're just like you. But two things which made them different from you. What is that? They're very consistent and they're very disciplined. They do many things. Sravanti is married. She's having 2 kids. She left a bank officer job. Again preparing. Imagine the pressure on a married woman in Indian society. Never on a single day she missed my optional class. ఒక్కరోజు మానేసింది when her kids got viral fever. Imagine the dedication. మనం నిద్ర లేవట్లేదు సార్, ఇదే కదా మనం చెప్పేది. Why these 3 people, they write very consistently, very good answers, and trust me, tomorrow all of you qualify prelims. Hopefully you are competing with your friends. And trust me, if you qualify prelims now and you start writing mains, you will be minimum 100 marks behind these 3 people. They kill you in the competition, literally. And her presentation is too good. She simplifies every concept, write down everything in 2 to 3 lines. ఎందుకంటే ఎక్కువ రాదు అమ్మాయి. Why this skill? Consistency. కాన్స్టెంట్గా రాస్తూ ఉంటుంది. షీ యూస్ టు టెక్స్ట్ మీ అరౌండ్ 1 AM 2 AM, సార్ నా పేపర్ ఎప్పుడు కరెక్ట్ చేస్తారు. దట్ అర్జెన్సీ, దట్ ఎంతూజియాజం ఈజ్ ఎసెన్షియల్. సో ఇంట్రో 3 lines, conclusion 2 to 3 lines. In between, whatever space you got, write the body. Don't compromise the structure of the answer, though the question is very lengthy, the answer is very lengthy. Never compromise. Present the content in concise format, that will help you. Okay, so some basic rules about intro, body, conclusion, and how to write very good intro, very good conclusion, body, etc. Start writing, automatically it will become very good. What is introduction? The summary of the following content. I am writing 2-3 lines. By reading 2-3 lines, examiner will understand what would be the nature of the content thereafter. What is conclusion? Insight of the discussion, right? And how to write conclusions? Mostly, for example, take theories part. In theories part, conclusion is always positive, right? And what do we say? It led to further research and emergence of further theories, right? And in physical anthropology, any research in physical anthropology, it will help what? Life of people, right? That means conclusion should be on an optimistic note most of the times. It should sound like an optimistic statement, positive statement, and it should be visionary. Follow these rules. You'll get introduction, conclusion appropriately, and the body. Presentation is key, as I said. And now the final question. What do you get if you join test series? Definitely no big books, no welcome kit. I don't do that. Okay? You get very important thing, my time. I'm not joking. I'll be available in the afternoon session. Once you enrolled in the test series program, I'll make a WhatsApp group. Okay. You can text me your comfortable time, convenient time. I'll come to this institute. You come here. We'll have one-to-one discussion. Whether it is you lack any conceptual clarity, I'll help you to understand the concept. Whether you lack how to start writing introduction, I'll help you how to write introduction. How to write a body, I'll help you. Conclusion, I'll help you. Every kind of assistance will be extended by me. The reason being, ఈ అమ్మాయి ఇప్పుడు కంప్లైంట్ చేస్తూ ఉంటుంది యాక్సెసిబుల్గా ఉండరు అని. నౌ ఐఎమ్ అడ్రస్సింగ్ దట్. ఐ విల్ బి యాక్సెసిబుల్. ఎనీ క్వరీ అబౌట్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ యు ఆర్ ఫ్రీ టు డిస్కస్ విత్ మీ. కింద ఆఫీస్లో ఉంటాను, ఆఫ్టర్నూన్ సెషన్. యూ జస్ట్ లెట్ మీ నో ఎన్ అవర్ బిఫోర్, ఒక గంట ముందు చెప్పండి. ఐ వాంట్ టు మీట్ యూ అట్ సో అండ్ సో టైమ్, ఐల్ కమ్ హియర్. ఆర్ యూ గాట్ ఎ డౌట్, టెక్స్ట్ మీ ద డౌట్. అండ్ ఎట్ టైమ్స్ ఇట్ మే టేక్ సమ్ టైమ్, బట్ ఐల్ క్లారిఫై డౌట్స్ ఈవెన్ ఇన్ వాట్సాప్. లేదు నేనే మీకు ఫోన్ చేస్తా, ఐల్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ థింగ్స్. సో ఐ ఆమ్ యాక్సెసిబుల్ టు ఎవ్రీబడి. అండ్ యాజ్ ఎ సెడ్, ఫర్ దిస్, from here onwards, I am not taking any classes in the afternoon session because I have to give time to test series students. And as I said, I am foregoing lot of revenue because of this. I don't get much revenue. But what is objective? As I said, if 5 students turned up, this is like hand holding them, ensuring that they get this is the reason why I started this program. In your mark list, I have to see 300 plus in anthropology section. ఇక మిగతాది మీరు ఏమైనా చేసుకోండి. ఐఎమ్ నాట్ కన్సర్న్డ్ అబౌట్ ఇట్. దిస్ ఈజ్ వాట్ ఈస్ మై ఆబ్జెక్టివ్. అండ్ ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ రెడీ టు వర్క్ హార్డ్, ఎస్, లెట్ us వర్క్ టుగెదర్ అండ్ రియలైజ్ ద డ్రీమ్ ఆఫ్ గెటింగ్ 300 plus in optional. సో దట్స్ ఇట్ అబౌట్ ద సెషన్. ఎనీ డౌట్స్ యూ కెన్ ఆస్క్ మీ. ఆ ఫీజ్ డీటెయిల్స్ కింద ఆఫీస్లో అడగండి. అపార్ట్ ఫ్రమ్ దట్, ఎనీ డౌట్స్. అండ్ దెర్ ఈస్ ఫ్లెక్సిబిలిటీ ఇన్ ద ప్రోగ్రామ్. Though I don't like it, management insisted that అది కూడా పెట్టండి అని. That means whenever I say flexibility, what do? You postpone. The moment you postpone, it doesn't happen. You start postponing exam, you never write it. That is inevitable. అది తప్పకుండా జరుగుతుంది. Okay? So don't postpone, though the option is available. Try to be very consistent. ఎప్పుడు వచ్చిందమ్మా? 10th 11th మన ఎగ్జామ్? 11th. Which day? So every Wednesday you got exam. Preferably Sunday or Saturday afternoon, I'll make the discussion video. And do you get model answers? Definitely no. And people who are very close to me, they know this. The moment I start giving model answers, I've seen this. It is becoming another source of preparation. And people are considering model answers as a source for preparation. Very wrong strategy. Very, very wrong strategy. So in discussion of the question paper, I'll be giving you the framework, how to approach the question, what are the keywords and points, and some value additions. Okay? So this is about the program. Any questions, you are welcome. Else you may leave the class. I hope there would be no questions, because I try to explain everything. As far as PYQs are concerned, we'll discuss whenever we get time. And see, why to discuss them twice? Once PYQ discussion and then discussion in a test series. So PYQs will be given in the test series, then I can discuss them at one go. Chalo, see you tomorrow, regular class, and test series students, see you on Wednesday.